Among the top 4 teams in the NFC all season, the Seattle Seahawks, 11-5, and the Green Bay Packers, 13-3, are facing off, with a trip to face the top seed San Francisco 49 ers, 13-3, in the NFC Conference Championship on the line. How to watch: the game kicked off at 6:40 p.m. Eastern. It is being broadcast on Fox and streamed live on Fubo TV. Marshawn Lynch came out of retirement to score touchdowns for the Seattle Seahawks, and he is doing just that. His 1-yard run into the end zone has Seattle trailing Green Bay, 28-23, with 9:33 left in the game. After Seattle's defense forced a punt, ending a streak in which Green Bay scored touchdowns on 3 consecutive drives, Russell Wilson went right to work. He took advantage of a free play caused by a penalty to throw deep down the field to Tyler Lockett, who pulled in a 19-yard catch even as Packers safety Kevin King delivered a blow so hard that King had to leave the game with an injury. Wilson took a sack from Preston Smith, then hit DK Metcalf for a 14-yard gain. 2 plays after that he hit Jacob Hollister for 19 yards. He got some help from Travis Homer when a desperation toss to the rookie running back turned into a 16-yard catch and run. Lynch then bulldozed his way 4 yards to Green Bay's 1-yard line to set up his own goal line score. Seattle's attempt at a 2-point conversion failed when Wilson was sacked by Jaire Alexander. Green Bay's Preston Smith was injured on the drive, which would be a huge loss for the Packers if he cannot continue. A sleepy first half has given way to something of a shootout in the third quarter, as Russell Wilson slowly and surely marched his troops down the field, gaining 84 yards on 12 plays. Seattle scored when he threw to a diving Tyler Lockett in the end zone for a 7-yard touchdown. No play on the drive went for more than 13 yards, and Wilson repeatedly got himself out of trouble thanks to his otherworldly mobility. It's a performance that has to be maddening for Green Bay's front 7, which has pressured him repeatedly to no avail. While Seattle still trails Green Bay, 28-17, this is far more of a game than it was at any point in the first half. In a performance worthy of his terrific season, Wilson has 190 passing yards and 64 rushing yards, and he is single-handedly keeping his team alive. Aaron Rodgers apparently didn't like having the Seahawks score a touchdown. He answered their score with one of his own, connecting with Davante Adams for a 40-yard touchdown, concluding a drive that went 75 yards in 2 minutes 35 seconds. Green Bay now leads, 28-10. While Green Bay loves to run the ball, this drive was all about Rodgers. He threw deep down the middle of the field to tight end Jimmy Graham for a 27-yard gain early in the drive, and then found his favorite target, Adams, for their second long touchdown connection of the game. This one came courtesy of a beautiful move by Adams, who caught the ball on the left sideline and proceeded to dash back across the field, evading a pair of defenders. Making a statement that they are still in this game, Seattle marched 69 yards on 10 plays, scoring when Marshawn Lynch pushed the ball in from the 1-yard line. The Seahawks now trail the Packers, 21-10. The running play was set up by the previous play, in which Lynch served as a perfect decoy. Seattle had gotten to Green Bay's 5-yard line, but was facing a 4th and 1. Everyone in the stadium expected Lynch to get the ball, but Russell Wilson rolled out and threw to Tyler Lockett for a 4-yard gain that set the table for Lynch's touchdown. The drive got the Seahawks back into the game, but initially it looked like it would be a 3-and-out after its first 2 plays went for a combined 4 yards. On third down, facing intense pressure, Russell Wilson shot up the middle for a drive-saving 22-yard run. 2 plays later, Wilson connected with the rookie DK Metcalf for 24 yards that put Seattle in the red zone for the first time today. The rest was history. At halftime, this game is all Green Bay, with the Packers leading by 21-3 in a game that has not felt that close. The dominance has come in all facets of the game, with the Packers outgaining the Seahawks in total yards, 201-135, and winning in time of possession with 18:05 to Seattle's 11:55. Aaron Rodgers has been efficient, especially on throws to Davante Adams, and has completed 10 of 15 passes for 120 yards and a touchdown. Aaron Jones, meanwhile, has carried the ball 13 times for 46 yards and has run the ball Indiana for 2 scores. Things have not been nearly as smooth for Russell Wilson, who has never won a pro game at Lambeau Field. Seattle's quarterback has completed just 6 of 13 passes for 105 yards and has received almost no support from his running game, with Marshawn Lynch and David Moore combining for just 20 yards on the ground. Wilson is leading the team with 16 rushing yards. The good news for the Seahawks, they will receive the ball to start the second half. Side note, during the Fox halftime show, it was announced that Jimmy Johnson, the two-time Super Bowl winning coach of the Dallas Cowboys, had been named to this year's class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. A visibly emotional Johnson struggled to speak after being told, and was still in tears when the station came back from a commercial break. It may not look like the high-flying Packers offenses of previous seasons, but this version of the team is absolutely deadly near the goal line. So even when it took a few tries, it was fairly clear that Aaron Jones was going to keep getting the ball. He rewarded that faith with a 1-yard rushing touchdown, his second of the day. With Jones's latest score, the Packers are leading, 21-3, with 1:30 left in the first half. While nothing is certain, this game has been all Green Bay so far. The Packers' latest drive had gotten off to a hot start with an 18-yard carry by Tyler Ervin, who stepped out of several tackles on the run. But the biggest play came on the sideline when Jadeveon Clowney, who was able to return from an earlier injury, tackled Jace Sternberger by whipping the tight end to the ground by his helmet at the end of a play. A flag was thrown, and the ruling on the field was that Clowney had grabbed at Sternberger's helmet opening, basically a face mask penalty, but it did not appear on replays as if Clowney's hand entered the helmet in any way. Green Bay had gotten the ball back with decent field position thanks to a promising Seattle drive stalling out with a great deal of help from Za'Darius Smith's second sack of the game. Russell Wilson was sacked an NFL, leading 48 times this season, and Smith seems highly motivated to keep that trend going in the postseason. Green Bay is up 14-3 in the second quarter after Aaron Jones plowed his way into the end zone for a 1-yard touchdown. Until that run, the drive had belonged to Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams. The Packers started the possession with Rodgers finding Adams for an 11-yard completion. He then went Adams for 18 yards. And to Adams for 15 yards. The pairing took 2 plays off, with Rodgers giving the ball to 2 other players, but the quarterback then looked for Adams again on another deep pass. While that one fell incomplete, Green Bay picked up 18 yards thanks to a pass interference penalty against Seattle's Shaquille Griffin. But once the drive got near the goal line, going to Jones was automatic. The running back didn't score 19 total touchdowns this season by mistake. Something to keep an eye on, Jadeveon Clowney left the field during the drive and appeared to be in quite a bit of pain on the sideline. Seattle got on the board with a 45-yard field goal by Jason Myers that narrowed Green Bay's lead to 7-3 at the end of the first quarter. The Seahawks went 32 yards on 6 plays, with the biggest gain coming on a 28-yard pass from Russell Wilson to Tyler Lockett. Otherwise, Seattle managed very little against Green Bay's defense. Thus far this game has seemed almost eerily quiet compared to the barn burner in Kansas City earlier in the day. After Green Bay opened the game with a quick touchdown, the teams traded punts, and midway through the first quarter it is still 7-0, Packers. Despite Seattle's first possession not coming with a score, it had some notable action. Defensive end Za'Darius Smith sacked Russell Wilson, celebrating by pulling down his undershirt, which read snubbed in reference to his not making the Pro Bowl, and the Seahawks appeared to get away with a turnover on another play when tight end Jacob Hollister fumbled the ball. The officials said no clear recovery could be determined on a review, and the failed challenge cost Green Bay its second timeout of the half. The Packers' second possession was nowhere near as interesting. They went just 1 yard on 3 plays. The Green Bay Packers methodically went 75 yards on 8 plays, with Aaron Rodgers lofting a 20-yard pass over the defense and into Davante Adams's arms in the end zone for an early 7-0 lead. The game started exactly as the Packers would prefer. Coach Matt LaFleur called an Aaron Jones run on the first play, and the explosive backslice through the Seahawks defense for 23 yards. From that point forward, Seattle was on its heels, allowing Rodgers to pick them apart for 47 passing yards and the touchdown. The only negative to the drive was the Packers having to burn a timeout to avoid a delay of game penalty.